All right, arriving first is a longtime subscriber, Randy Vasquez.
Randy V.
Randy V.
What's up,
brother?
What's up, guys?
Latino. Let's see, Randy's representing the Latino-X community. Latinx community, thank you.
Not Latinx. Not at all.
Latinx
There you go, my bro.
So
ridiculous.
I'm curious, Konnan. What was your like? You obviously ran the AAA show, but what else did you do down there? What other shows did you check out and stuff?
Bro, I'm not that much into wrestling, watching wrestling matches that much anymore because I see so much of it.
On TV especially, right?
Yeah, and AAA, bro. I watch every match live, then I watch it back again. But anyways,
I watched it, yeah.
Impact.
Let me ask you a question.
And MLW. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So you watch the matches live, and then you watch them back, okay?
Right.
Are there guys on the show that sometimes their work is not up to par, or they're doing the stuff that you see over, like making a mistake and everything, you got to pull them aside? It's like, bro, how often are you like, do you watch these with the critical eye as much as you're giving instructing where you're seeing errors?
Right. Yeah. No, a lot. A lot.
Right.
Because we have a lot of young guys in, just like the United States.
Right. And they're going off under the free from the Mexican indies. Now they're on the show.
Right.
They're doing all these.
Right.
Whoa, we don't do that.
Right.
It's like you got the camera you got to look for here, like like stuff like that.
Because before, when you were in a major promotion, it's because you were in the indies for like 10 years, so you already knew how to act when you got to a major promotion. These don't, and plus they feel like they're entitled and they don't want to wait for. So it's a whole different mindset.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
See, the internet darlings are like kind of entitled these days, huh?
Oh, bro, and that's another thing. A lot of them will lose it if you don't put them over on the social media tip. And I'm like,
God.
You would have evaporated. You wouldn't have even existed for one day in the environment I grew up in. I mean, there's just no way, because
These guys need to learn. Like getting respect from the marks and getting respect from your peers are two completely different things. Getting a reaction from some of the marks is like fine, but if you're like not doing the stuff that's getting the reaction, the respect from your peers is like you're something wrong with you, not us. So, what's going on with the Cabeza de la Mesa?
He's getting set up.
The head of the table. Oh, the head of the table.
He's getting set up. I think his reception was bad. What's up, Carlos?
He's in the car. Carlos is in the car. And El Otto. Why don't you put Carlos and El Otto?
And also,
instead of Cabeza de la Mesa.
El Otto.
Coming up next.
I watched bits and pieces of day one, WrestleMania. Okay, but I watched all day two, start to finish live. So let's just go in order. WrestleMania.
And a lot of people would argue that the first night was the better night too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so I'm sure did everybody watch WrestleMania, by the way? I know Konnan did. Okay, cool. All right, so you guys can talk about some of the stuff I didn't see. So
yeah.
So we start off. So the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders come out and dance to Thunderstruck. So that's a pretty hot. I didn't see this, but I'm imagining that's a pretty hot opening. All right.
Yes.
So right off the bat, they're playing good old school rock and roll music that the millennials probably don't like, and they're showing they're objectifying the women.
Right.
So they're basically like saying, "Okay, we're gonna put on sports entertainment, right?" Right off the bat. What if that's actually like a metric that they looked at behind? They actually thought about that everything. Like, this is like we want to be like an old school show, like So, the Usos versus Shinsuke and Boogs. Was Boogs over huge? I imagine for his entrance.
Yep.
Okay.
They're all decked out. They're representing like a hard iced tea or something like that. It was like a commercial or something.
Okay, so Boogs puts a guy up on his shoulders and clutches his knee and collapses. He blows his knee out for a shoot.
Quad.
Yeah.
Well, I think he had both guys, didn't he?
Yeah, both.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Because I didn't see the spot yet. He put both guys on his shoulders because it's too much for him. Blew his quad out. That's horrible. And then basically they had to change the finish and go home quick, and the Usos beat him in only 6 minutes and 55 seconds, but it's my understanding they were going to win the match anyway. Is that accurate?
Probably.
Okay. So what did you guys think? Anything? I mean, other than the injury, was the injury like hard to watch?
Here, do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
He just had him up, and he just kind of went down and clutched his knee, so it wasn't like grotesque looking or anything.
Dr. Funkenstein, what do you have on your monitor in the background?
The TV?
Yes.
This is the USA Network.
Oh, it is? Is that Raw?
No, it's not raw yet. It's I don't know what the it is. I just put it on the background.
Interesting.
All right, here goes the Boogs.
All right, poor Rick Boogs.
Oh, God.
Obviamente, supuestamente, ¿te acuerdas que en serio?
That's good enough. All right, poor guy. Too bad. Maybe they could have him come out like, you know what they could do? They could do like the Phil Collins gimmick. You know what Phil Collins has been doing all those concerts from a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Because he can't stand up anymore? They should just wheel Boogs out there to play the guitar.
Yeah, he could still. Yeah, exactly.
Like Phil Collins.
Yeah.
And then the heels could take him and we could have Dominik could turn heel and grab Boogs on the wheelchair and wheel him off the side of the stage to his death.
That would be tremendous.
That'd get him over huge as a heel. Yeah, if he killed him, right? So next, Drew versus Happy. I mean, this was filler. I don't think they should have been working against each other.
This should not have been on WrestleMania, first of all, to begin with. Number two, that ending of SmackDown with their thing that they did was absolutely horrendous. And the only good thing I can say about this match is that I'm assuming and I'm hoping that this is the last we see. This was the blow-off match. This is the last we see of these two. Drew deserves better. Happy does too.
Yeah,
and so does that Mad Cast Mop guy. I like a lot.
Oil and water for gimmicks to put against each other right now. It's kind of weird. Like I was saying, this is nothing against. Like these guys probably had.
You know what it almost feels like?
But it's just like.
Yeah, it almost felt like we don't have nothing for Corbin to do, and we don't got nothing for this guy to do. So while we have him in a holding pattern, let's just put it in a program together.
Let me tell you the thing about this. This is why this angle didn't work, and it doesn't work. Okay, because Corbin and what's her name are basically heels, and they would be saying like, look, they would go to the office and say, guys, you can't let this guy be carrying the sword around. It's ridiculous. Like I said, that they should tell the office to make him put the head. He can't bring the sword to the show anymore. Like, because that's two heels. That's what they would do. They never even brought it up. They tried to steal it. Then they have it. And what are you going to do with the sword? They got the sword. Now heels have a sword that's being used as a weapon backstage. It's just the whole concept here is just absurd, which is why nobody is into this angle. Nobody cared. And it's like, move along. It's like stupid. I mean, do you agree with that? That's probably the reason why nobody cares about this is because the angle is so dumb. They're fighting over a shoot sword. That this guy
he did destroy the ring with the sword after the match.
Well, I was just saying, after the match, he did the whole point. Maybe that was the whole point of the whole sword thing.
Stupid.
Is at the end of his WrestleMania match, he was going to slice through, and they had this special effect set up for 6 months that they were going to do a WrestleMania. He's going to slice through the sword. Whatever. I like him, but honestly, there's no way he could slice through the sword. Okay, because if you know what the ring ropes is, it's cable surrounded by garden hose. So it's a steel cable. There's no way you would slice through that steel cable.
I thought WWE uses rope, not cable, right? Or did
they use rope, not
switch?
cable?
Yeah.
Either the rope is so thick, I would highly doubt that you could actually slice through it.
Well, it's a special Drew McIntyre sword, so it's named after his mom. So
all right. Well, hopefully this angle
cut right through there.
And now we can get to Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin.
Yeah,
right. This is a match I can't wait to go back and see.
Is there a sigh emoji or not yet?
With what?
Yeah, you could go.
Like, is there a sigh emoji?
It'd be like a guy, like a guy yawning.
Like, I need one. I'd like to put one to that feud. It was just like, really.
Okay, Ray and Dominik against The Miz and Logan Paul. How did Logan Paul look?
Great,
good, real good.
Right? He had that. I saw the spots on the highlights of him. He's pretty cocky.
I like when he comes out and the guy actually says, yeah, he's wearing the world's most expensive Pokemon card around his neck.
Yeah, dude, did he say $6 million or something like that?
Yeah, it's like $6 million or something like that.
$5.7 million. He paid for the private signing. The most
great.
Bro, this guy has got to be worth like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wow.
With 20 million followers on YouTube, it's like. But I was gonna say is that I'm not like the funniest thing is like when people think like okay, here's Logan Paul. Bro, this guy just like fought Floyd Mayweather and like went the distance with Floyd Mayweather. The guy is obviously an athlete.
Bro, not only that, this is how much he gets it after he won. And I don't know if this was in the ring or if this was backstage. Like, he really put it over. He goes, I can't believe I was just in WrestleMania and I won. He understands how to put over. You know what I'm saying? And bro, and There was one part where he did the Eddie Guerrero Three Amigos thing.
When he did the thing, yeah.
Just moved. Yeah.
They did a close-up of his face, and he goes, "Watch this," and he had better facials than like most of the guys that have been doing it forever. He was great. He was really good.
Bro, you got to understand. This guy's fought for real. On pay-per-view, he knows how to sell. He knows how to work. He knows how to market. He knows that this is a great guy to use to bring in for your product if you're going to bring in a celebrity. You draw probably tons of fans of this too. You know, on social media and stuff, everything. So yeah. So afterwards, the Miz hits him with the skull crushing finale, which is why I didn't see the match hits. I don't know if there was a spot that led up to that or whatever, but I don't know. That was kind of I didn't expect that. But
best part was Dominik in the Gringos Locos gear.
Yeah, that was great. And I didn't understand why he turned on him, but he got a humongous pop when he turned on Logan Paul.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if Ray and Dominik are listening to this, okay, you gotta have your gear that you wear. There's a certain gear that you wear that you don't do a job in, right? And I would think that the Gringos Locos outfits would be, for future reference, would be outfits you don't want to get beat in, right? Would you agree with that, Konnan? Of all the things they can wear.
I don't agree with that.
I do agree with that. I think that's like that's just Shawn Michaels would tell him that. Shawn Michaels would tell him that. Does any excuse for not doing a job? Hey, you can't do a job for those. That's Eddie Guerrero's outfit.
Not in that gear.
You can't do a job. Go tell them.
Bro, imagine this. I got similar advice when I first started, and I got mega heat. When I first started, I was wrestling in this place called El Toreo, which was probably maybe the best-selling arena in the world. And the guy that was the champion there, his name was Konnan, and he was like, he goes, only sell for me, sell for nobody else. But I only had like a year in the business, so I wasn't selling for nobody but him. Bro, I had mega heat, and they had to come and smarten me up. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just real quick to recap what's happened so far. Let's go over Powell's POV of the show so far. First match, he said, I thought Boogs was selling his previous knee injury when he collapsed, but all the talking between Jimmy and Nakamura appeared to be them coming up with a different finish on the fly. Powell, for the Drew match, a good match for what it was, just so hard to take the Corbin seriously with the happy gimmick, and McIntyre really belonged in something bigger and better than this. Here's hoping they make it up to him at WrestleMania 39. Meanwhile, Moss got in Corbin's way again, so they're inching closer to splitting up. It'll be really interesting to see where a repackaged Moss lands on the WrestleMania card next year. And then for this one, a fun match with Paul getting good heat while performing Eddie's signature spots on Ray. The Miz attacking Paul afterwards was surprising and fun, but was also cheered, and I think they want viewers to like Paul heading into a apparent match with Miz. Every time I think they figured out that the Paul brothers are heels, they do something like this that seems to suggest otherwise. So
did Ray and Dom kind of get Paul ready, Konnan? Do you know? Were they working through the match beforehand? And was it those guys they relied?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm asking, was it Ray and Dom they relied on to get him ready?
I didn't ask them, and I did see them, but I didn't ask them.
Yeah.
Next is Becky versus Bianca. This is pretty good because Bianca, like I said, Bianca is so athletic. Like compared to like these other girls, a lot of them, most of them, is that it's difficult to like suspend disbelief that like she couldn't just grab these girls and rip their heads off at a certain point because she's so strong and agile and stuff, everything, right? But Becky held her own in this with the way her offense looked. I thought it was kind of clumsy and sluggish and stuff, everything, but it looked like they were throwing some live rounds at each other, which made this work. I think, and it was good. She owed this to her. Last time, what was it, WrestleMania last year? She put over in 26 seconds.
SummerSlam?
SummerSlam, yeah. You knew Bianca would win, but they gave them all the time in the world here, and she hit the KOD and beat her clean. What do you think?
Yeah, I really liked this a lot, and I thought that I liked her entrances like a Marvel movie. You know what I'm saying? Right. And what we're seeing now is that, what's this girl's name? Bianca Belair. Besides being super athletic, as you mentioned, she can be led to great matches, and that's very important. Some girls can't. So she's already proven a couple times, including this one, she can be led to great matches. Becky has shown she can lead somebody to a great match, which is not easy because only her and maybe Charlotte Flair and I don't know who else, but very few women can do it. but she led her to a great match. And like you said, it looked, like really physical and real. It wasn't like lucha spots and a whole bunch of false finishes and gimmicky. They did a real good job. So kudos.
Yeah, because they have to, like, if you're one-on-one with Bianca, you kind of got to lay your in. If you're not laying your in against her, you're just going to look like it's like completely fake looking, because she's just, like I said, she's just like, she's an excellent athlete. She's kind of a high level athlete, so it's like, yeah,
bro, she was a track star in University of Tennessee. Give me
and you would like think like in real life, if like just some girl with no actual shoot fighting background and everything, and the two of them would fight on the street, you'd think that Bianca would beat the out of her. But Becky made it look like she could probably maybe beat the out of Bianca. Right. If they fought for real,
good point.
Which worked, right? Yeah.
And I also want to throw out some extra points for the ring gear, which I thought was great.
Yeah. So next is Seth. He's a group of young singers on both sides of him stage, and they're chanting his song. He wore a wild blue rope or cape and wore black and blue gear underneath, and Rollins looked at the entrance and got impatient while waiting to find out who his opponent would be. He removed his robe, and then Pyro shut off and the lights went out, and Cody makes his entrance to his AWA theme. So I guess actually he produced that song and he owns it, right?
Yeah, he was using that song before AEW and Ring of Honor and Impact everywhere.
Yeah, so he comes out to the base of the exact same gimmick he's been doing in AEW, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, with the grand entrance and stuff and everything, but he got a huge pop.
Did you see the match, Disco?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
That's what I figured. You should watch it. It's worth a watch.
Okay. Well, I knew who's going to win. He's not going to.
Still, lose. I mean, it's still an entertaining match.
Yeah. Well, everything was entertaining.
And
like I said, like I want, But if I just find the time, it's still 7 hours of TV.
Right.
It's like I need hours to fill to watch the content. So, what'd you think of this, Konnan?
I thought this was a really good match. Cody's a great wrestler, and so Seth. So this was perfect. And, Rollins probably knew, I got to put this guy over. He's a future opponent, and I'm going to make sure I put him over. He was very professional, and it was, they did great business, and it was kind of surreal to see him there because, bro, he's one of the guys that started AEW and the whole breaking the throne between game, but, he can change his mind. And I almost feel like this American Nightmare thing is something that he's wanted to do for a long time, but he's never been able to really fully pull the trigger on it. And now maybe in WWE he will. I'm not sure why he felt it was necessary for him to do a cartwheel during the match.
It was a Stardust throwback. Stardust used to do that.
Yeah, okay. Is that what that was supposed to be?
He said, Corey Graves said that when he did it, that was like shedding old skin, that no more Stardust and that sort of thing.
All right. I didn't hear him say that.
No.
Let me see. Yeah, good match. Real good match.
So next is Charlotte versus Ronda.
And here's the other thing. He was over with the crowd.
Yeah, at least Disco, check out the entrance. That's pretty. That's one of those entrances.
I saw the entrance.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I didn't see the match.
Reminded me.
I saw that. Yeah. Well, they showed the whole. When you watch day 2, I watched it in real time, so they showed a lot of the highlights, like long highlights.
Right.
From night 1. Like they showed that whole sequence where Rollins is in the ring, and so I saw that.
It reminded me of when the Hardys came back a few years ago, and they got that huge pop, and everyone was chanting "delete." Cody got a reaction similar to that.
Yeah. So next was Ronda versus Charlotte. This wasn't that bad. I'm surprised that they beat Ronda, but they did a thing where she they kicked her off. She crashed into the referee. The ref bumped, and she put Flair in the armbar. Flair tapped out, but the referee was down. And when she tried to revive the referee, Flair hit her with a boot to the head and then pinned her.
Right.
Kind of like a matter-of-fact way to end this match,
Well, it was a way to protect Ronda. It was a perfectly timed, perfectly done because the boot looked great, and the
replay looked great too because he was right there. It looked
and the end where 3 people are involved. Everybody did their part well, and I will say this: it wasn't as good as a Bianca and Lynch match, but Rousey did look more better than I've seen her before in the ring. More
motivated,
comfortable, maybe. Not as tense. Let me see. Oh, I love when you and me talk about this all the time, Disco. When Flair hit her with a spear, and the camera angle, it looked like it came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They
that was great.
Yeah. They were so on point all weekend too.
And you could see Rousey's chest was red from all the chops from Flair. So she was bringing it.
Ronda's matches are always pretty good, but everything else she does is never very good. Like her interviews and that sort of thing. But this was better than I thought. But I wasn't looking forward to it just because I thought the build was lackluster.
Right.
I agree with that.
I wonder what they're going to do with her going forward, how much longer she signed for or whatever, because like Konnan said, I would have said motivated, though. She hasn't looked that motivated this run.
Right, exactly.
Like she's playing a character that she's disinterested and doesn't want to be there.
The corporate people wanted her back, and she had to come back for the corporate people.
Right. But it doesn't look like
which is why she came back.
She's certainly not crazy about it like she was the first time.
But what Glenn's saying, she's there for the money, not because she really likes it.
Yeah,
right. She doesn't like to be booed. That's the problem.
Right.
She doesn't like people criticizing her.
Yeah,
right.
You know, that's a big problem for her.
Okay, so next was Owens comes out there and invites Austin to come out to for his KO show. Austin's music hits. Unbelievable pop. Mm-hmm. He walks up and down the stage, back and forth, and goes backstage and comes out on a four-wheeler, drives around the ring a couple times and gets out, comes in the ring and throws the KO signs out of the ring. Him and KO basically sit down. Austin calls him a stupid let me tell basically, like, if you wanted to explain what happened, okay? If you want to explain to somebody what happened at WrestleMania, so Kevin Owens had a KO show and he invited Stone Cold Steve Austin on. Stone Cold Steve Austin came on KO's show and KO challenged him to a match. Stone Cold Steve Austin called him a stupid for challenging him to a match, then beat his ass up and pinned him with the stunner 1, 2, 3. It's just basically the storyline of this match, but it was highly entertaining because the people were totally with it. There was a spot in the aisle where they were fighting in the aisle, where they were both throwing hands like back and forth. It looked like a good brawl at one point. There, do you remember that spot, Konnan?
Yeah, even when they started like that.
It was brawling.
Yeah, because they started the match. They were just going punch for punch until he brought him to the corner, punch him, and then stubbed the mud hole on him that the people started to count.
Right.
But
but let me tell you this too. There's another thing too, and this is like Austin knowing, okay, that this is my style. You know, if I come back, everybody's got to do this with me. You know, the punches, you got to sell the punches, you got to sell the kicks. You got to be able to fight back. You know, so if I'm beating your ass, so he probably looked up and down this roster. I was like, God, who could I really do this with? You know, it's like I don't really have beef with Dolph and everything. But years and years ago, when they had this category in the Observer, okay, when he was in Ring of Honor, like every year is either him or Austin would win Best Brawler award. Okay, like Kevin Owens was like the best brawler. Like Owens used to back in the day when guys thought he used to brawl a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I just wonder if Steve's like, well, what's the best guy I could brawl with? Well, how about like a multiple Observer Award winner of the best brawler? He's like, that's the guy I'm coming back and I'm fighting against, you know? Which is basically all that match was. It was just a brawling back and forth, but it was good. The people loved it, you know?
If they knew about this when Owens re-signed, I mean, what a card to hold in negotiations. Like, hey, if you stay with WWE, you're going to get the main event, you're going to get Austin, you know, if they knew it at that point.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy to think about is everybody thought KO was like Kevin Owens was like miserable. He wanted to go be with his friends in AEW, and then a few months later he main evented WrestleMania with Stone Cold.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, where are you hearing? Let me see a question. Where are you hearing all that?
Oh, just marks, you know, and just fans like me,
and the dirt
you know,
sheets
online,
too.
You know,
and the dirt sheets too. We're kind of painting that picture and everything, but it's like, bro, it's like.
There was a famous shot of Kevin Owens in the corner with like his head on the turnbuckle. Supposed to look like he's totally miserable, but you know, taking out of context.
Right.
Every hot commodity that's in AEW right now, okay, that's watched WrestleMania, saw that it's saying, it's like, why am I here?
I always thought that, like, I don't care. I don't care if you hate Vince McMahon, hate WWE. I always thought if you were an active wrestler, how do you not watch that and go, I wish I was on that show right now? I mean, they make you look like a total star, how gigantic your name was, you know, over you when you came out. The set looked incredible. Like, they're still above and beyond like everybody else. It's not even close.
They're opening up.
So I thought this was great because, first of all, you're sitting in front of one of the greatest talkers, most charismatic and most over characters in the history of wrestling. Bro, and he held his own with him. He never got nervous, tongue-tied, didn't look like he belonged. He was annoying, and you wanted to see Stone Cold kick his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I give Steve credit because we're both big Austin marks. You know, at his age and after 20 years of not doing to go out there and take bumps in the concrete and all that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was handsomely paid, and you can never put a price on the adulation of the crowd. He had the biggest pop of the night. He had him in their hand, and then when he came out later on in WrestleMania the next night, he had him in the palm of his hand. Great usage of Steve Austin by WWE, and just this was great.
Yeah,
they're opening up Raw with Cody, of course.
And if Kevin Owens would have gone to AEW, he'd probably be like, Miro or Lance Archer or Keith
Dark
Lee,
Order number 55 or something
just
like
another guy.
Yeah.
I will say this is nitpicky. I always prefer Stone Cold walking to the ring, the killer, rather than him riding the ATV. I always thought that looked kind of silly.
Yeah, well, maybe he's going to try to sell that ATV on eBay for $250,000 or something, whatever you could probably get for that thing. You know, so night 2, I strapped in my seatbelt and decided I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. And I sat here and I watched it, and it started off with, and I got some comments because I watched it and everything in its entirety. So Triple H comes out basically to just get a response to the crowd. He's retiring. So he basically cut a promo, got a huge pop, actually a long pop too. So you knew the show was going to be kind of long. They show Gable Stevenson interviews, but he waved to the fans. Hey, Gable Stevenson. So now we go to RKBro versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy.
Let me just say that I love the fact that he went out there and he kept it short. You know, he didn't just went out there and did his thing and then bounced. That was great.
He got like 3 big ovations, though.
Yeah, which he deserves. Yeah.
So these guys are going back and forth, and in the ring, Otis blasted Dawkins with a back elbow, and Otis held up forward, and then Gable performed a bulldog from the top rope in a Steiner Brothers tribute that led to his near fall. The Profits battled back, and Dawson put Gable on his shoulders, then Ford performed a blockbuster from the top rope for a good near fall. Riddle tried to return to the ring, but Dawkins sent him back to ringside, and Orton went for an RKO on Dawkins, who stuffed it and gave him a spine buster. Then Dawkins dove on Otis on the floor, and then Ford went up top. The Riddle springboard and hit Ford with an RKO on the way down. The Gable left from the ropes and was hit with an RKO from Orton on the way down, and this was all perfectly done in time, perfectly for a huge pop for the RK-Bro, winning the titles in 11 minutes and 30 seconds, which was kind of like a bro, they went like these. I think all 3 of these teams wrestled each other. Remember I told you that match, Konnan, that was like 26 minutes the other day was excellent?
Yeah.
This was like half the time, but it was still excellent. You know, this was a good match. What'd you think of this?
You're muted, Konnan.
They all have great chemistry. They're all great workers. You know, they're all young guys with the exception of Orton, who can still go. They all have good personalities. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, this was great. This was a great way to start off the show. And I love that thing at the end where Riddle springboarded to the third and then gave him the RKO. Then Orton gave him the other RKO and huge pop. Very well done.
Because you weren't going to. The first RKO was a huge pop. The second RKO was a huge pop. You didn't need another kick. You didn't need a kick out there. Yeah. You were going to get a huge pop in the finish. So it was like,
and also ixnay a little bit on the dang Gable or whatever his name is.
Well, Gable Stevenson.
Night 1 he waved, and he came out here and he did that spot, bro. When he suplexed him, he got no pop.
Right. Well, nobody knows who he is, but it looks to me like they got this guy slated for the main roster sooner than later.
Yes,
if they're already integrating him into stuff, you know.
Isn't he only 21 or 22?
Stuff like that.
He's like really young. Yeah.
Omos versus Lashley. Okay, I gotta admit, this match was not good up until I'm going to talk here. Omos went for another suplex, but Lashley avoided it. Lashley kicked him and then performed a suplex of his own for a huge pop. Lashley barked Steiner style and then kicked Omos' back. When Omos stood up, Lashley speared him and pinned him. Lashley got good fire on the comeback here when he blocked the suplex and gave him one and got good fire and got the people in this, and they got a good pop in the finish, but this match was not that good of a match at all. But the finish worked good.
Bro, I couldn't believe how huge Omos looks next to Lashley.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't get his outfit either still.
How about that? Yeah, instead of the cashmere sweater, he wore the bomber jacket again.
Right.
I guess he meant business. What is that?
A bomber jacket.
Yeah.
Big Bomb Omos. They should call him the Big Bomber Omos.
And then he roars. He roars. Okay.
Yeah, right. Right.
So, anyways, then he roars.
But they have him dressed up like a fashion model. He's like
what is going on here? Yeah, all he's missing is the scarf. Yeah.
So you don't lose when you wear the bomber jacket from now on.
Yeah. Wow. And so I thought the Lashley, who can be very physical, wasn't that physical here. Those two spears he hit him with looked really weak. That vertical suplex looked like a snap suplex. I didn't like this match at all. But then again, as you know, I don't like Omos.
Right, but the finishing sequence was actually did get a good pop if you go back and watch it again. So Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn in anything goes match. So let me tell you something. All right, when I was watching this, and I'm pretty sure you guys maybe had the exact same reaction. Johnny Knoxville came out, and the announcers literally were laughing, and I laughed too. Okay, and it was like because it was funny. He was silly. He was coming out. He was dressed like a schmuck and everything. Then the bell rings, and out of nowhere, Sami Zayn gives him a kick and like knocks him down. And immediately the crowd went from laughing to boo because the crowd was having a good time and immediately got heat right off the bat. Right. So he takes him to ringside into
what a hideous outfit he was wearing, by the way.
Right. It's
what
funny.
Was that?
So Zayn shoved one of the jackass guys at ringside. Knoxville sprayed Zayn with a fire extinguisher. He pulled weapons in a trash can from underneath the ring, including a stop sign. Zayn cut him off and then returned to the ring with the weapon. Zayn pulled out a cookie sheet and slammed over Knoxville's back. Zayn followed up by slamming a crutch over Knoxville's back. Zayn threw the trash can at Knoxville, then covered him for a 2 count. Zayn pulled a table and more weapons out from underneath the ring and suddenly acted like his hand hurt. He pulled a table that had mouse traps attached to it and asked Knoxville if he did that. That's so ridiculous, right? But that is a very important little tidbit of the match. Yeah. He said mouse traps for Zayn grabbing the tables from under the ring, which is so absurd. But Knoxville used an air horn to throw him off. Zayn covered his ears and kicked Knoxville. Chris Pontius from Jackass entered the ring in Pretty Boy character mode and danced while a confused Zayn watched, and he ripped off his pants and his shirt, and it looked like Hoovy and Connan's bedroom after the show at the Super 8 Motel.
Oh my goodness!
Okay, with one of the luchadors dancing around in a G-shirt.
It only happened once.
Okay, so he danced on Zayn, and then Zayn shoved him away. Knoxville rolled up Zayn for 2 counts. Zayn put Knoxville down again, and then shoved the Party Boy under the ring. So then Wee Man comes in and actually opened up a can of whoop ass on Jackass because he was throwing what looked like live round. This was actually very entertaining. Got a huge pop. He was like beating up Sami Zayn. Okay, so let me see. So Wee Man's come in. They looked like he was beating him up. Knoxville performed a tornado DDT on Zayn. Got a near fall. They got a good pop from the crowd. Wee Man pulled out a contraption for Jackass that had a prosthetic foot on it. However, Zayn blasted Wee Man with a kick to the head, which drew loud boos. Zayn went to the top rope, and Knoxville held a remote control and triggered a confetti that shot from the ring post behind Zayn and shot it up at his ass. Knoxville pulled out a bowling ball and rolled it at Zayn's crotch.
Ouch.
Knoxville positioned Zayn in front of the contraption and set it off, and it kicked him between the legs. Zayn... Just picture a machine where you hit it and a foot comes up like a lever and just like kicks you right in the balls. That's the machine they had in there.
Right.
Zayn ran into a giant hand contraption that knocked him over. It's like a trick. Then Zayn returned to the ring and Knoxville followed. Zayn kicked him and suplexed Knoxville. Zayn went up top, but Knoxville used a weapon on his balls and then shoved him off the top rope through the table covered in mouse traps. The Jackass crew pulled out a giant mousetrap from underneath the ring and slid it inside the ring, and Knoxville tased the stomach of Zayn, who ended up on the mousetrap, and Knoxville struggled to trigger the mousetrap, but he eventually did, catching Sami Zayn stuck inside the mousetrap, and Knoxville covered him and pinned him in 14 minutes and 25 seconds in an anything goes match. This was very entertaining. I don't care what anybody says about it. I mean, what do you guys think of this?
I just thought... Bro, the match is ridiculous, so you have to go with it. Right? Once you go with it, it's very entertaining. I did like. Well, I popped a lot because it was funny and it's Jackass. Right. So But I like when Party Boy McAfee goes, his cheeks were just starting to get over. That's tremendous line. But Wee Man got over, huge. It took forever, unfortunately, for him to set off that mousetrap. And I like how they kept referring to him as the rat that got caught in the trap.
Right.
You know. But this was very entertaining, different. It was what it was. It was a garbage match that was entertainment.
I was watching this with a friend of mine that came over. He doesn't watch wrestling. He just wanted to hang out. He loved this. He thought it was hilarious. So the casual people will get it, you know.
Yeah, right. Kids will be laughing, yeah.
Yes, it's there for that reason.
Yeah, this was very well done. Very well done. And Sami again, bro. He's MVP.
Sammy's the man right now.
Yep.
Yeah, Disco had tweeted something about psychology and yeah, it was good. I liked it.
No. Here's what I tweeted before the match started. I tweeted this right before the match started. And you tell me if I asked the question, you guys have the answer to the question. All right. So I tweeted. Let me see. I like it when a high-level worker's skills are tested in uncomfortable situations and whether or not they can deliver entertainment that gets good crowd response. I just said before, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to anticipate to see what they do here because I'm whatever. So then I tweeted that after that first spot. I said that was actually a great first spot. It got everybody to stop laughing. Good psychology. Yeah, that's what I said.
Because that's how I was. I was laughing, and then once that happened, I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. So there are people that then I tweeted after the match. There are people that are going to say this was the best match, and I'm not going to argue with them. You know?
Nope.
So there are people that probably
maybe.
I bet you there's probably tons of kids that went and saw that match and thought that was the best match.
Right.
You know, out of 77,000
Well, that's how you
people?
put. That's how you put a good show together. You have a match like that, and you have a women's match, and you have a bit of.
You're catering to different people because my friend is a huge Jackass fan, so he was down to watch that, and like how you're saying, kids see all that chaos and all the gimmicks. Yeah. And it's a good visual, and then especially if it's like it's ridiculous, but it's still within the realms of like good psychology where everything makes sense. It breaks up
the monotony of all the other matches. It's a different type of entertaining match.
Great point.
All right, so next is the thing I'm completely not interested in: the Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha, Naomi versus Ripley, Morgan versus Baszler, Natalya for the women's tag team championship. I'm not even going to cover this. I'm just going to tell you Sasha and Naomi won. That's it.
Okay, so what I will say about this is they've done a horrible job of getting you invested in this because there's no storyline. The girls were like 8 of them, and they're all trying to get their in. You know, they're all trying to save their spot. So they did the typical put 10 pounds of in a 5-pound bag. It was like a spot fest kind of. But at least they put it on Naomi and Banks, who are very over. And I did like them coming out in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, let me tell you something too. They showed Micah Parsons and Ezekiel Elliott were shown in the crowd, right? Bro, I was watching the pre-show even, okay? And they had like Micah Parsons was on the panel with Booker and everything, all that, and they brought Zeke up there. So they had like all these stars and stuff, like the football players. Like they were asking Micah Parsons, he was talking about he's a big fan and everything. And they said, "Would you join the WWE?" He goes, "You guys match my contract, I'll join tomorrow." I know people are, whoa, but I'm just saying, like, it just gives that company like such a big feel. Like it's a place where one of the best football players in the league would just give it up and go there if he can make it pay the same money, right? So next, AJ has a standard entrance and had a cut on his upper right cheek. Supposedly, people were saying that the pyro hit him or something, but supposedly one of the apparatuses of his entrance
sliced him or whatever.
Sliced him in the cheek. So the poor kid is going out there for a big match. He's going to slice the cheek before the match even starts. Edge had this chair like he's a king. Like, he looked like I tweeted.
Great entrance.
He looked like a Queensryche rock and roll character.
Great entrance.
Kind of like a dark music, rock and roll, kind of like Ozzy Osbourne stuff. Yeah, excellent entrance. This is good storytelling. A lot, bro. You could tell that when Edge puts together a match, that he makes he knows when there's going to be facials that he needs to have, and he makes sure that the camera guys are going to be right on his face when the time comes. It has to be pre-planned, okay? Because they catch him in so many important facial shots that he knows to tell storytelling and everything. I guarantee he's going to production beforehand and making sure they get all these shots. But basically, this was a great match. I liked it. It's got the good old school type of style I like. So he goes for a springboard, the phenomenal forearm at the end. Priest shows up at ringside, distracts AJ. So AJ goes up for the phenomenal forearm, and Edge hits him with the spear, and he beats him 1, 2, 3. And then Edge and Priest, they come together at the end, and they're side by side. And guess what Graves asks? What sort of unholy union is this? But it does look like an unholy union. So actually, those guys should be. Remember how we said like they put Moxley and Bryan Danielson together? They should immediately go be fighting for the titles, like the tag titles.
Right.
Like Edge and Priest should immediately be right in for the main event, the tag title picture. Like immediately. There's no reason to wait while where they're together, so you can tell the story as you go along. But their whole thing is like, we're here to wreck this place, you know?
Yeah. And this will be really good for Priest too.
Yeah, excellent.
That association, you know.
You know, what great matches could they have with him and with Orton and Randy? Riddle. I bet you they're thinking that because there's a lot of backstory there too.
Yeah,
you know, Edge and Randy. Mm-hmm. So that's actually, you know what? What if you circled back, okay? And Edge basically comes back and has said, you know, I'm not finished with you, Randy Orton. I've never been finished with you. Now you got a pretty tough guy by your side. I got a guy by my side too. Like,
yeah, they've been rivals and partners, so there's a lot of history. It kind of has like
the Hatfields and McCoys type vibe a little bit you can make out of it. You know, now I got a friend too. Like, you know, I'm saying that like this, if they start telling that story, that's good storytelling that makes sense. You know, that he would want to circle back to Randy Orton because that's like they've been feuding for 20-something years. Now they have
even better to add another layer to it, since everybody's been saying that sooner or later they're going to separate Riddle and Orton. Mm-hmm. He made Riddle turn on Orton. And it was Riddle, Priest, and Edge in a faction.
That's, you know what, this is. I guarantee if those thoughts hasn't crossed the creator's mind, they should. You know, because that's pretty good stuff. You know. Next is Kofi and Xavier versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Bro, this match.
What was the purpose of this?
Just got cut from night one.
Honestly, the match is 1:40. Sheamus and Ridge beat them quick. He broke because of the interference, but this entire match was designed to get Butch over as like this uncontrollable
guy. That's what it looked like.
Every spot was Butch.
Sheamus had to carry Butch out at the end.
Bro, this was only 1:40 long, and the only spots I remember in this are the spots with Butch. So it's like he was in every spot of the match. Before the match started, like everything. After the match, like, you know, so it's like, yeah, they're getting him over. Like you said, remember you said he might get over?
Yeah.
They could just unleash him on somebody if he and bro, he's the type of guy that in the ring will get his in very snug and like, you know.
Right.
Perfect example. Remember when Joe 17, 18, 19 years ago when he came into Ring of Honor and he was like the Ring of Honor killer because he was like working Japanese strong style with these guys that were doing acrobatic stuff and everything. You know that. So this kid could do something like that possibly because he works very snug. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a little guy that tries to beat up people out there. So I don't know.
What did you think Disco mentioned in Samoa Joe of Joe showing up at Ring of Honor and now he's with AEW as well? I need to say that.
I don't care about Ring of Honor. I haven't watched Ring of Honor I can't tell you the last time I watched
But I'm saying he'll be on AEW this week as well, Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe is?
Yeah.
Oh. They run another new guy?
Yep.
All right, so next is Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. I popped when the Cowboys came out. Pat comes out dressed like his gimmick, his announcer gimmick, I guess, because he's got his jeans with the holes in them and the black T-shirt and a chain. And it's Theory versus. I guarantee you they probably practice this match a ton. But basically, I'm going to read you this because this is actually a good match. Theory suplexed McAfee and told him to shut up. Theory went for another suplex and McAfee reversed it, and Cole openly cheered for McAfee. Saxon told to be careful as the camera cut to McMahon. Theory ended up on the apron and McAfee hit him with a shoulder block. Oh, by the way, Vince was out here, okay, with Theory. Theory crashed in the broadcast table. McAfee went to ringside and put on the headset and talked about how he's beating the hell out of Theory. With the headset on, McAfee slammed Theory's head on the broadcast table several times and tossed him back inside the ring. McAfee removed the headset and went to the apron, and Cole said Vince didn't look pleased, and he would know because he's seen that look before. McAfee went up top while the fans chanted the song again. Bro, that song was over. They kept chanting. What's the riff to that? How does it go again? Yeah, just so they count.
Yep.
Bro, he was super over to the whole crowd.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Theory slammed McAfee and covered him for a 2 count. Theory kicked McAfee, then played the crowd as he climbed the ropes, and McAfee shot up and punched Theory. McAfee joined Theory on the ropes and went for a top 12 superplex. Theory stuffed it. Theory shoved McAfee off the apron, but packed in a backflip, landed on his feet, and then ran and jumped up straight up onto the top ropes and then gave him the superplex. Just like
pretty impressive, pretty good stuff.
I mean, like Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he did that in his match with Adam Cole, but like seeing it again in a big stage like WrestleMania, it was great.
Oh, it's just like when you get these crossover celebrities and they're high level professional athletes, they can look great out there. You know,
I also like when he was beating Theory and then he would go to commentary to commentate.
Right. So Theory, so Theory Mac fight you down, talks smack to him in the fire, punches who said, and Theory talked more smack. Theory hoisted McAfee for his ATL finisher, but McAfee countered into a roll up and got the 3 count. So he beats Austin Theory 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, Vince gets pissed. McAfee standing on the second rope. Played to the crowd. McAfee got up and approached Theory and spoke to him. McAfee pointed him down at McMahon and jawed at him, and Vince teased removing his jacket and stopped, and the fans booed. Then Vince removed his jacket and tie, and the fans popped. Saxon pleaded with McAfee in commentary to apologize. He told Cole to talk some sense into McAfee, and then Vince returned his dress shirt, removed his dress shirt, and then in the ring, he had a black tank top, wife beater on. A referee joined in the ring, and Theory returned to hit McAfee from behind, and Vince started to strut as Theory left the ring and spoke to the referee, who rang the bell to start the match. Basically, the match was just kind of like all offense, and Theory interfering on Vince's behalf. Theory toyed with McAfee by tapping him with his foot, and Theory handed Vince a Dallas Cowboys football. Vince teased putting it into the crowd a couple times and pointed at McAfee, and Vince punted the ball at McAfee's side. They covered him and pinned him. That looked weak. Poor McAfee. After the match, Cole said it was one of the most disgusting displays of sportsmanship he's ever witnessed. Theory climbed on the middle ropes and played to the crowd for good heat. And McAfee held his arms open for a hug. Vince did the same, and they embraced. And Vince raised Theory's arm. Vince's theme played, and the glass broke, and Steve Austin made his entrance to a huge pop for the second night in a row. Vince looked concerned, and Austin entered the ring and went to face with Vince while Theory stood in the corner. Vince pointed at Theory, who tried to cheap shot Austin, but he stuffed it and took a stunner, which is a great stunner.
Yep.
Then Austin and Vince squared off, and Vince tried to talk Austin down. They convinced that Vince wanted to drink. They joked that they were going to drink a beer together. What do you think happened here?
Stunner.
They do the salute with the beer.
The worst stunner of all time.
Yeah, they go over there and he hits him with the stunner. But everybody says it was the worst stunner of all time. Go look at every stunner Vince has ever taken.
It's always been
awkward. They've been terrible.
Yeah.
Atrocious. The worst ones.
This might have been the worst, bro. He sat down. Come on.
With his legs on you.
How do you get it? How do you sit down off of that? Bro, Theory sold that so great. It was ridiculous. Yeah. So did
kicking his legs in the air.
Afterwards,
and they also, here's the best part. Not only do they sell it, but I like the spit take before.
Yeah. McAfee afterwards too. So you get McAfee stuck too.
McAfee sold it great too. Yeah.
So this was interesting because Billy on our show had said for a long time now that Vince is going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I didn't believe
right.
And he was said that all what you saw, there was content that was basically being produced for the documentary, which is the way it kind of looked. It looked
right.
like
I could see that. Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw him do that. Yeah.
Right. So
they'll edit that stunner.
Oh, I don't know.
The best they can. Yeah.
All right. So next is the main event. Had a big fight feel to it when the introductions and stuff. Everything was just really, the crowd was, but this was a lot of electricity in the building for this,
Yeah, I just thought it was a little anticlimactic because it had a big fight field, great openings, and all that. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Billy had said that this was going to be their knockdown, drag out, bloody brawl, right?
Right.
And Brock took his gloves off to start the match, which I would think, okay, they're going to bleed for sure, right? Because that's the gimmick they're doing. He's taking his thumbs off. But bro, this was just like a Raw match, like 10 minutes, just basic stuff. Rep,
yeah, but it was brutal. The finish came out of nowhere. He was going to hit him with that 5. He came behind him, pushed him to the ropes, and hit him with a weak-looking spear. Yahoo! I mean, come on.
This reads like it finished like 10 minutes too early.
Yeah. Well, the word was
somebody was hurt, right?
Yeah, I think
he said, but I sent out a text to somebody and said, "Did they go home early?" And the answer was no. So I guess that was not planned to be this bloody brawl or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
well, the word was that Reigns separated his shoulder. So
for a shoot,
maybe they cut it. Yeah. So maybe they cut it a little short.
All right, we'll see. But WrestleMania
too.
Yeah, Brock had something with
I haven't heard anything terrible.
Like his midsection.
Maybe we'll have to hear from Billy what happened because I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was WrestleMania. I thought it was excellent entertainment. Absolutely.
It was
if they could put on like that type of content like on a weekly basis, it'd be just a good. I mean, you it's like as the ratings that wrestling gets. Sometimes they're number one on cable, right? If the production was that good all the time, it would be like Head and Shoulders number one. That's a good draw for their product is put in production like this. The way they were doing it has been fantastic. So
yeah,
it was way better than I thought it was going to be both nights.
Mm-hmm.
I was not looking forward to it really, but
yeah.
Well, they
Cody,
did
any
good.
final comments?
Yeah, it's like we said before. They did a great job of entertaining you, whether it was the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders or the mousetrap gimmick, or just there was the video packages. There was really. I think the only match I didn't like was the Omos match and the New Day match, only because it was so short.
Mm-hmm.
Women's tag
match, the women's tag, because I'm not invested, but everything else was good. And they had, and I love the fact that what was good was really good, especially just watching Vince and Steve Austin in the middle of the ring. I was like, wow, this is great.
Plus the Cody surprise, and then Owens and Austin. I mean, if you're in the crowd there, you think maybe you're going to see Austin do a stunner or something, but then you see him go way above and beyond that and have an actual match. I think a lot of people were probably surprised.
Well, plus too, this is why WrestleMania is always so great, right? Is the wrestling purists every year when this comes around and everything, they always kind of get aggravated when they're celebrities. Like they were aggravated at Bad Bunny, they were aggravated at Johnny Knoxville, they're aggravated at Logan Paul. But like, dude, the celebrities perform well.
So yeah,
like they make a very good showing of themselves. Like, when was the last time at WrestleMania where a celebrity didn't make a good showing?
Trump.
Where you were saying that But I mean, same. But like Bad Bunny even made did great.
He blew it out of the water for sure.
Yeah, every time they use a celebrity, it's like these guys like.
Well, they're picking the right. They're picking the right ones. Yeah.
Picking the right ones, So
I have to get people that are going to respect it and make sure they try to pull their own weight.
Right.
I just can't believe they pulled like 15 minutes of entertainment out of Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn.
Of course,
because Johnny Knoxville didn't look like an athlete at all. It just looks like a guy like a crash test dummy that gets beat up. And they actually told a story where it looked like he was having a competitive match against Sami Zayn and almost beat him.
Did I just miss it? Was the hand there the whole time? Like. He ran that giant hand. That was the best part.
Yeah, but that's the way they shot it.
That's the way they do it.
Where they shoot the stuff is like they'll put it at ringside and bring it to ringside.
Yeah.
None of the cameras will catch it.
Right.
They'll be shown and it'll come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
wow.
Better.
Which is very clever.
It was like Wile E. Coyote trying to get the Roadrunner. He just kept running in over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about WWE right now, after so many years of just a brutal product, little by little, they're starting to turn things around. And I've always said the one thing about WWE is they always adapt.
Yeah.
Whether they fell behind WCW in the Monday Night Wars, or whether they had to copy ECW, but they always adapt. And they're adapting. And they're starting to get better. That's good for everybody involved.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, that's been our reviews.
All right. Any last questions before we get out of here? All right.
No, thanks for having me on.
All right.
Thanks as always, Randy.
Funkenstein, Vasquez, Meza, thank you very much for the long time support. Mm-hmm. And we'll catch you on the next show.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you, fellas.
Right. Be cool.
Peace.
Peace.
See you, guys.